there was this man who was walking down the fields, and he fell down in a deep pit, a deep hole, right? And now it was all with loose sand around. He couldn't come out of it from the right side or the left side. And there was a person who came on top of it, top of the hole, and said, "Oh, my poor child, what are you doing there?" And this guy said, "I'm stuck, help me." And this guy said, "Oh, you know what, pray to this god, do this chanting 110 times, and you will be out, you will be saved." Right? And that fellow walks away, and this fellow starts doing what he's telling. He starts doing the chanting and etc. As we know, it didn't help. He's still stuck there, right? Then another passerby goes, and he sees this guy, and this guy tells, "Oh, poor guy, what are you doing then?" He said, "This is what I did. I did the chanting." And that fellow laughed at him. "Oh, chanting doesn't help. You need to do yoga. You need to build up your strength. Only then you can come out." So this fellow starts doing yoga and masters handstand and headstands and all that. And few days pass by, but that didn't help him to come out, right? That fellow had gone away. A third fellow came. "Oh, all of this is wrong. You need to learn the science behind this. You need to observe yourself, observe your breathing, see when it goes in, see when it goes out. You need to master yourself before you can help." So this fellow starts breathing exercises and blah, blah, blah. And that didn't help him to come out, you know. Then there is this one guy who came along, and this guy says, "I tried everything. Everybody asked me to do these things. It's just not helping me come out of this hole." So the other guy said, "Wait." He jumped inside. And this guy's, "Are you crazy? I'm stuck here for days, and you are jumping here down with me, and now we both are stuck." He said, "No, guy. I fell in this 1 month back. I was here where you are today. I know how this is stuck. I know what the problems are. I know what one tries to come out of this. And now let me show you what I did step by step to come out of it. And let's do it together." Right? I don't want to go into an implicit moral of the story here. I think we all understand what the storyline is, right? Before advising, we should be very clear that we know what we are talking about, right? Otherwise, we shouldn't advise anybody, right? It will just make things worse for them. But having said that, if at least I have been down there, and I can talk about my story. But if anybody wants to go first, if anybody wants to share something which has a story which can help the group and hopefully the larger audience, please go ahead.
Okay, well, a few years ago, I got a divorce. And, well, it was quite a process. And I did go through a period of pretty bad of depression. Fortunately, I was in therapy and everything, but it was pretty bad.
Yeah.
I mean, fortunately, the therapy and the medication and the therapist sent me a mild antidepressant, and well, what helped me besides that was that before getting a divorce, I had already, I was back home with my mother, and I was already like in a routine of doing exercise.
Right.
And walking my dog and going to the gym.
Yeah.
And those two things, helped me like continue, because I felt like a truck had hit me.
Yeah.
I didn't know where to turn to, what to do. I had my life was upside down.
Yeah.
And of course, it brought up all kinds of negative feelings about myself with me in my mind.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, but there's a very important. Some of these points are already relevant for the next discussion, Alessandra, and you know what I'm trying to say. I mean the behavioral activation therapy. I think we will touch those things very fast over there as well, and see for the benefit of the group. But yeah. I think 2-3 things you brought up already very important. If people, some of there were nuggets, right? Walking with dog and all, it helped, right? And what it means and why we should do that, and
yeah.
etc. But yeah.
Oh, but yeah, that helped. But yes, all the negative feelings of what am I gonna do? I'm not. I'm of feeling unworthy of anything. Hopelessness. Like, how am I gonna get out of this? This is never gonna get any better.
Yeah.
I can see that it's still a little difficult for you to talk about this, Alessandra. It must be.
Yeah. So, but Alessandra, from your therapy, what are some of the main things that helped you from that? Can you give us some insights on that? Does it help? Does it really going to a therapist really help? Because many people think, no, I mean, if I go and talk to a therapist, he or she is just going to ask me and to repeat everything. And that's not going to help. Did it help?
I think it did help me. Because first of all, it gave me a place where if I needed to, I could bawl my eyes out.
Yeah.
And also a space where I could actually talk about how I was feeling, how bad I was feeling, how hopeless I was feeling, how badly I thought about myself.
Yeah.
And in a safe environment.
Yes.
And knowing that my therapist would help me manage those feelings.
Yes.
And another thing that my therapist did for me was help me take it one step at a time.
One step at a time.
Now, I don't. Right now, I don't recommend you start looking for work. The ex was giving me enough money at the time.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, focus. You need to focus on yourself, on your healing.
Yeah.
It's good that you're doing your exercise. That helps you. And she sent me books, which also helped me clarify what the hell had happened.
Yeah.
So I think it was pretty helpful for me.
Very nice. Very nice. I mean, as you said, somebody hearing you out where you can just speak out, right? And not advising you, not guiding you, but coaching you. And
exactly.
just hear me out, right? That's already very, very liberating.
Yes. Because I mean, I knew that I don't have very many friends, but the friends I have are good friends. They're very supportive friends, including Pilar here. But sorry.
Yeah.
But a lot of my friends, if I don't know, when you tell them what am I gonna do? I know this is gonna pass, and you're gonna.
Yeah.
And it's just, and no, I feel like shit. Am I ever gonna find love? Am I ever gonna get out of this? Don't worry, you will. Take it easy. And that, for me, I understand the good intentions.
Yeah, but it doesn't help. It backfires.
It's not helpful for me.
Yeah, it's not helpful. Okay, let's wait for her to come back.
Yeah.
But yeah, KL, you were saying something.
Sure. So basically, just to give a small background, I'm someone who can get completely involved while, let's say, watching a movie and have tears in my eyes, especially when there is an emotional scene. Okay. having said that, in real life, when I'm actually hit by a problem, I kind of step backwards or step away, disassociate myself from the problem,
Mm.
call it detach myself from the problem and not be part of the problem, and
Mm.
then start searching in a rational way of how do I solve this, right? So it could be when I'm on my way to an important meeting,
Mm.
my car breaks down, it gets punctured, or whatever. So I look at how do I actually put it into a place where I could park my car, hail a cab,
Yeah.
go for that meeting, come back and fix versus saying, oh, my whole day got spoiled.
Yeah.
So I'd like to understand, again, is it because of the personality within a particular person? Like if you were to take a cork ball or a leather ball and bounce it off a wall of glass, right? The glass is going to shatter, versus you could throw it any number of times against a wall and the ball will come back, right? So is it that kind of a personality or a mindset that actually uh, helps you kind of move on and minimize those personal tragedies in one's life? Because as we know, it's just 1% of events and 99% of how you react to it, right? Uh, but again, on the other side, the personality also is someone like who could even cry watching an emotional scene in a movie, like I told.
Yeah. Yeah. I think what you touched upon is something that we are studying currently in our masters also, right? Nature versus nurture. So there is definitely an aspect of nature over here, KL, is what I understand, right? But I don't know. But what my personal belief is that there is still a common thread between all of us. And what I mean by that is, there are triggers to your example, right? It really depends where the ball is hitting and what kind of ball it is, right? For example, for some so for some the triggers that work for you may not work for me, but we all have triggers, is what I wanted to tell. We all are vulnerable to this, is what I think. I think at least that it's that way. But nature versus nurture is definitely a topic. So from a nature perspective, yes, some people are much more suited to handle a emotional movie, for example, versus others, right? But to that point, I think from my personal experience, I would want to say one thing, which is my own experience, is that I think people who can cry are stronger. I always look at somebody's ability to just cry as strength. You know, for me, I have not been crying for quite a number of years. I was as a kid I used to cry,
No,
but
but
then
interestingly, sorry to interject,
yeah,
Jameen.
yeah,
Interestingly, I cry and I have my eyes all swollen up
yeah,
when I'm watching a movie, right?
yeah.
So it's not that I lack emotion,
No,
right?
no, I'm not saying that. No, no,
But
of course not.
yeah, but when I actually look at how life plays on
Yes,
me, I
yes,
try to quickly get rational and solve it,
yes,
So
which
the
is good.
problem solver in me takes over, is
Takes
what
over.
I was
Yeah,
saying,
yeah.
right?
That's more
Gail,
of a
if
yeah.
I can weigh in on your this thing, what
Uh-huh,
I
yeah.
believe is happening is that when you say you watch a movie and you get emotional and you let all your feelings come out, it's primarily because you have no skin in the game. Because you're just
Okay.
sitting down and watching a movie. So you're not first hand going through whatever the character in the movie is going through. You're first hand not feeling or getting abused, as let's say, if that's what you're watching. um, First hand nothing's happening to you, so you allow your feelings to come out and you allow the emotions to build up and you give yourself the permission to feel them. But when you have skin in the game, when you actually, it is on you to find a solution, then emotions do not, you're like, okay, no, I cannot give myself the permission to
Yeah,
feel,
yeah,
because right now I have to do.
yeah,
I can't feel and do. I either feel or do.
yeah,
So you feel when there is no skin in the game, and you do, you just do. So you don't allow your feelings to cloud your actions, is something that I'm seeing. But of course, it need not be the exact thing. I'm just giving my opinion. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And sometimes, I think whether that could be also something which, you know, I'm not sure if I would, if stone-hearted would be right. And again, apologies, Alessandra, but there was a friend of mine, a good friend of mine, who went through a bad marriage, as in, and they have a daughter as old as my second one, and he's gone to a point, and they've gone, they've had this bitter divorce, like I told you, and the lady has got custody of the child, so he's still, tiptoes to the school sometime, watches his daughter from behind a tree. I keep telling him, you have to move on in life and not get stuck in a particular event that's happened, right? But somehow he's not able to internalize that, right? So
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, just to continue in sake of time and not make it too heavy, right? But 2 points that came out very nicely, right? Alessandra, I'm switching on to the CBT activational behavioral on this case. Is that fine? Okay. So I think what we
Okay.
understood so far, and last time when we did CBT, we did the ABC, which means what was the activating event? So that was A. C was what I felt, which I have put it in the middle now instead of last. And in between, we had things or thinking patterns or thoughts, which were our cognitive biases or distortion. And we concluded in that session that, okay, these cognitive biases and distortion are the reason why I'm feeling things, not because of the events that happened. So it was my own thought process, right? But we changed that into a little bit. So what we say is, again, events are there. How do you feel, which was our C part. But what we now bring is our behaviors. What do we do? What did we do or what we didn't do at that point in time, right? And especially around depression, because this approach of behavioral activation really helps us. And before that, maybe I quickly share two things. Let me share my desktop. And yeah, that was the image that I think, Alessandra, you were talking about, right? I'm drowning, my friend comes, give me a high five. I mean, see, with friends there is a
Yeah, the hi-fi is échale ganas.
it's a,
Échale ganas is like, put effort into it. Yeah, put
yeah,
effort into it. Get out of here. And the
Harder.
yeah,
person is drowning in the hi-fi, so
yeah.
that's the échale ganas in Mexico.
Very nice. and
That's
and there,
exactly it.
yeah,
You
I
know,
mean,
try
Pilar shared
harder,
this.
put
Yeah.
in effort, and that's the result. You drowned. I mean,
And there is another
it
side
was
of
the
help.
best
There is another side of
feeling.
help from, and that covers a little bit in Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle. And I really don't want to give references, but that book is very powerful, as we discussed in our first meeting. And what it talks about is a pain body syndrome, where what other than that people do is, right, I share, oh, this is the misery that happened in my life, and how pain bodies react is, the other person, oh, this is nothing, let me tell you of what happened in my life, right? As if it's something like a game. Or let me tell you what happened with my friend, his life is even worse than yours and you should feel better with it. It doesn't help that way. A worse example compared to my example is not the right psychological way to tell the other person, hey, move on. That's against the psychological concepts. You can't do that. And most of the friends, with all their good intents, would do either of that, right? Positive things, or telling their, oh, what are you talking about, look at that fellow, or look at my life, it's even worse than yours. It doesn't help, guys. That's against the psychology part. And then one other very quickly topic I wanted to touch upon before we go to that activation part, because that's relevant, is chemicals. And I'm not an expert into this, but naming at two levels, right? Dopamine and serotonin. Serotonin is the one which helps when we do exercises and stuff like that. Serotonin helps us. It helps us become more satisfied, which we do. We don't get addictive to it. We are grateful for what we have. That's the side of serotonin. Dopamine has its own play in the body and it's needed, but be careful when we try to do things which are dopamine based. They are addictive in nature, right? Eating chocolate pie that we were discussing in one of the sessions, right? It may be addictive. It could be, how many likes am I getting on my YouTube or on Insta, etc., right? The very reason why Insta did an experiment of trying to hide the number of counts of likes for many people. because that was more of dopamine impact, right? That buzz sound, seeing those like, and then we are never satisfied with what we have. We want more, which means first time I got 100 likes, I was excited. Now that excitement doesn't come with 100 likes. I need 200. That's a dopamine effect. Serotonin is like, oh, I did exercise. I am satisfied with that 1 hour of gymming that I did. I don't feel no for that level of satisfaction. Now I have to do 2 hours of gym. No, nobody says that. We are tired. The effect of that chemical is I am satisfied, right? And this is where the behavioral activation plays more of roles in terms of what are the activities that you do, how do you behave with things, what are the actions that you take, rather than only thoughts. Now we are going more towards the action oriented part. But doctor, your area, any comments on that?
I think that's about, I think you've covered most of it. If we talk more about that, we have to go very much into the neurology portion of it. So I think that's going to become a boring discussion.
All right, maybe for the next time we do that.
Yes, yes.
Okay, so I think what behavioral activation approach does is we break into what happened, how we feel, what did we do, and from what I heard from Alessandra, 2-3 very small things that I captured is, okay, we feel end of the world, and then we tried to be away from the friends who are like, oh, move on, life is good, blah 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 blah, right? But I'm assuming this, and Alessandra, correct me if I'm wrong, this is the first smaller spiral that we get into where
Actually, well, what happened, yes. How I felt, yes. I tried to spend time with my closest friends, the ones that I knew wouldn't say échale ganas.
Yes.
Friends that I could, that it would be okay if I broke down and cried, but that I could also laugh with.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes. So I just bear with me a little bit. I'm trying to do some things. Okay, so spending time with close friends or walking a dog, right?
Oh, definitely.
These were all good things. But what out of this did you stop doing, which were actually good things you had before this? What are the things that you stopped doing, and which were missed? I mean, those were some good things in past. Yeah, did I frame the question right? Do you want me to make it more clear?
Well, I pretty much dropped I stopped.
Basically, what feel good things that you were going towards that you stopped?
Like it was like my. Sorry.
What I said was, what were the feel good things that you used to do? Like, let's say, eat a tub of ice cream. That's a feel good thing, but it's not necessarily positive. So something like that you were doing and you stopped.
That I continue doing or that I stopped doing?
No, for now, what we are trying to find is the spiral, right?
The divorce.
Yeah, I think Alessandra, your voice is breaking up. What I'm trying to tell is, generally when we feel something negative, we do or don't do things and that makes us feel the same thing even more, right? For example, at certain point in time when I was very upset and depressed, I went away from my friends because I said, hey, they don't understand me.
Okay.
But then going away from friends make me feel even worse.
Yes.
Yeah, so something like that.
I was wallowing in self-pity. When I wasn't with my friends, which was just a short, maybe 1 or 2 hours a week. The rest of the time I was feeling exactly self-pity.
Yeah.
Pitying myself, ruminable things he done to me,
Mm.
blaming, you know, a cycle of feeling, victimizing myself,
Mm.
of blaming myself, of
Mm.
ruminating and
Mm.
getting angry.
Mm. Mm. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that definitely did not help.
Yes. So that is still how you feel and how you think, Alessandra. From a behavioral activation, what we want to know is how was your outside behavior on things? What did you stop or start doing, which then negatively reinforced that? It became spiral, right? So when you
Um,
were when you were you more aggressive with people around? Were you more
yes,
disconnect? Hmm, hmm.
yes, I would blow up more easily at people.
Yeah, yeah. One of the common things.
Um, I was like stuck. I didn't do anything except walk the dog, go to the gym
Hmm,
all week,
hmm,
and then on Sundays spend a little time with my friends, but
hmm,
I wouldn't look for a job.
hmm.
I wouldn't do, I wasn't studying. Uh,
Okay.
Another example that I can probably give is somebody who has issues with body image,
Yeah, yeah.
with weight loss or weight gain or whatever.
Yeah,
So feel depressed,
yeah,
eat a tub of ice cream.
yeah.
It becomes, you know, you
The cyclic,
add
the
to the
first
problem.
spiral.
Yeah,
Yes,
it's
yes,
a spiral.
absolutely, absolutely. So I think behavioral part,
yes,
there are two spirals generally, right? The first spiral is what we feel and the first impulsive things that we do are exactly which feeds back into the feeling, right? So self pity, end of the world. But if I don't engage, if I be aggressive with people around, their reactions are going to reinforce that I'm not a good person. I'm still going to have self pity, and then not only my primary relationship or my primary goal of weight loss is not achieving, but it's getting worse because everything else is also falling apart, right? So that's the first level of spiral, so called, that happens. And then the second level of spiral really is beyond that, right? Which means that from the things that I do, what happens is that my main problem for where it all started, right? For example, if it is about relationships, I land up with all my negative spiral in the first thing, I land up breaking more relationships, right? And that's the worst case scenario. That now it's becoming a learned helplessness scenario now. So breaking more, right? This is the worst case scenario that hits, where now this is now really getting into a downward spiral where I say, oh, now that this is happening again, right? It has to be something wrong with me. And then again, end of the world, self-pity. And these are the two levels of spirals that generally happen, right? This is the downward spiral that we say in the behavioral activation. So first thing is you need to really write down what your behaviors and understand what your behaviors are and observe them and see what are those two spirals, three spirals that are happening, because that is the downward spiral that goes. And then there is no control. We lose the control there, right? To overcome this, the first step always for anything, to overcome anything, you need to first understand how it is working. So you really have to write these things down. You really have to understand what you are doing, which behaviors you are doing, which time of the day. If sometimes people might not be able to figure out what they are doing, but then you start writing down which time of the day were you feeling down, which time of the day you felt very down, right? Which time of the day you felt better, and then you go back, what were you doing around those times, and then you get those behavioral part. Because otherwise we are stuck in our head in, oh, I was thinking this, I was thinking about that, but no, what were you actually doing? That's where we are going with behavioral. That's why it's the third generation therapy approach, right? CBT is more about thinking, but now this is telling what were you doing, right? Maybe I was walking a dog, I felt better at that point in time, but then after that I'm not feeling better, because this was the time generally I used to be in coffee corners with my lot of my friends, and now I'm not doing that, right? And then which spiral is it leading into? And this is a downward spiral that we have going on, right? And then of course we have to go on an upward spiral on this, and there are ways to achieve that. And because of time, I don't think we can achieve that today, but just to give you at a very high level, we really need to, and this is very hard for a person who is in depression, because hopelessness, helplessness, both of them things are very severe. but you really need to start looking at values in your life, right? And there are multiple dimensions of value, right? From family to social. And where do you really find the value in your life? You need to find out the value. You need to find out things that give you pleasure. There has to be a angle of mastery, which means I need to master something, right? It could be as simple as Pilar telling, yeah, finally I have put my video on YouTube, I mastered it. Right? That is something that we are all waiting for example, Pilar. But or I did a yoga, I did this part of yoga very nicely. And that achievement, the feeling of achievement is very, very, very essential, again, from a neuro bridges, because it's both the ways. There is always a 360-degree angle I feel in everything, right? If I get angry, my breathing pattern changes. But if I change my breathing pattern, I can get calm. Which means if I'm depressed, there is chemical changes. But if I influence those chemical changes by other action, my depression will be in control. It's always the other way around too, right? And that is what we have to make conscious effort around this. So mastery, and then always goal. Always have a goal. But again, for all of these things, make sure it follows the concept of SMART. So simple, what was it? Manageable, measurable,
Yeah.
achievable, etc., etc. Right? So don't come up with, oh, I am going to walk on my handstand for 100 kilometers. You're going to get depressed because if you can't do that. So again, as Alessandra said, small steps at a time. You have to plan for that goal and break it up, right? Because that is where the goal mastery comes. Serotonin will come, dopamines will come, you will feel better, right? I'm not saying your life, what happened is going to get rectified, but at least you will be in a little more sane state, little more controlled state. And that is where upward spiral could start. And you never know, you hit that purpose out of this upward spiral. Oh, this is what I want in my life. And that gives you a whole new motive and whole new excitement in your life, right? So that's the upward spiral. And I'm more than happy if anybody of you want to do that individually also, or in a group, we can go into details. As a part of this session, I will share one very nice PDF worksheet around behavioral activation. It has examples in it, etc. with all of you. You can see it, use it for your own self, use it for friends, whatever, right? So I will do that. But going ahead, mindfulness impulse. So this is where I tell my story. But before that, any comments from anybody? Anything that you want to tell?
So, Jabin, in terms of value, means I don't know if that was directly related in terms of this particular experience that Alessandra talked about, in terms of what happened, how do you feel, and all of that, and the relevance of that value. So are you alluding to the fact that if there is a value that is created, it will enable manage the situation better? I mean, what was the
value is more or less like compass of your life, right? Which side you want to head towards. What's the value in your life? What do you want to really?
So
unless maybe there are cases where the person is depressed because there was a value and they cheated on their own values, right? That's a whole different angle. But all of these multiple things need to put together: values, pleasure, mastery, goal. All of them combine together. So one of value gives you direction, pleasure reinforces the chemicals, mastery gives you that achievement feeling, which is very important, and goal really reinforces back out of the learned helplessness, a learned achievement kind of scenario, right? So these are the four angles. But value from your question, KL, is more of a compass. What's my value? Do I want to do something for family? Do I want to do something social? Do I want to, whatever, etc., etc.
Okay, so that will be pertaining to that relevant issue, or
no.
Or in general,
in
general, it's like a compass for your life. Okay, because there's one very interesting thing that I'd like to share, for the benefit of others. I was born, or am a born Hindu, but throughout my education, I've studied in convent schools. And the school that I studied was run by fathers from the St. Ignatius of Loyola. The school motto has been faith and toil. Although very average in my studies in school, I really wore this on my heart, on my sleeve, in terms of faith and toil. So irrespective of the religion, right, faith in God and toil, So that somehow was probably how I got wired, right? Now, this led to later successes in life and probably has been my main value in life. Faith and toil. In every situation in my life, I put these two and make that play. Uh, have I put in enough efforts, and then I leave that to God.
Yeah.
I think very practical for me from a values standpoint.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And I'm sure Pilar from the Catholic background would have a lot of things to say around this. But yeah, we maybe come to it later. I know, but we'll come to it later. Okay.